Hey everyone, Thorn and Smash here, resident Apex Predator, and today I'm here to talk to you about the eagerly anticipated release of Apex Legends for the Nintendo Switch, and what's going to come along with that and what we can kind of be expecting with that. Now, to start off with, this was something that was supposed to launch in fall of 2020, and there was a lot of news outlets reporting that. Right here you can see an image of people saying that it was confirmed for fall of 2020. As we know, fall of 2020 is past, and that was not the case. Respawn and EA have run into multiple problems trying to port this game over. Now, after missing that fall of 2020 deadline, EA and Chad Greener, who works on the Apex Legends port, went onto the website to go ahead and let fans know this. For those who game on the Nintendo Switch, we're still hard at work on the port, but in order to do justice to the game and make it to the greatest experience for Switch players that they deserve, our team needs more time. This year has brought on unexpected new challenges, to put it mildly, and we don't want to rush anything out. Switch owners can expect to get their hands on Apex Legends next year, and of course, when Apex Legends does launch on Switch, it'll come with support for cross-platform play, our latest seasonal content, and full feature parity with the other versions of the game. We can't wait to get Apex Legends into your hands for your TV connected dock on Switch. See you soon, and thanks for understanding. Now, it would seem that they want to push this out next year to 2021, as they've stated, and it seems most logical that they'll go ahead and do it with the release of a new season to get hype and expectations behind that season. The first one coming up would be Season 8, which will launch right after Season 7, and that's going to be on February 1st, 2021. That would be my expectation for when the Nintendo Switch release is going to come. It would be after their 2020 deadline that they missed, but they're very close apparently if they were willing to make the prediction of fall 2020. It also coincides right at the beginning. I don't see them wanting to wait another 3 months after Season 8 all the way into May or June. I would highly expect February 1st or February 2nd for the Nintendo Switch release date. Now, the other issue with it releasing on Nintendo Switch this late and not prior when it was fall of 2020 is the next gen systems are out. Now, with the Xbox Series X and the PS5, you're able to play at 60 frames per second locked. However, there will probably be a patch next year that will allow for 120 frames per second on those consoles respectively. And that is going to be a huge issue for the cross-play section of Nintendo Switch. Now, let's take another game, for example, that's pretty big in the same genre as Apex Legends, which is a battle royale, and that's going to be Fortnite. So as you can see right here, Fortnite only runs at 30 frames per second on the Nintendo Switch. That's just a limitation of what the Switch can handle with a asset generating game like a battle royale with so many multiplayer players in the game at the same time. So you can expect Apex Legends to also only be able to do about 30 frames per second on the Nintendo Switch, and that's a huge issue when you're going to be doing these crossplay lobbies. Current console players already have a tough enough time when they're running their machines at 60 frames per second trying to keep up with these PC lobbies that can do double that. If you go ahead and you take these Switch ports and you try to do crossplay with your friends on other consoles and you're running it at 30 frames per second, you are going to get lit up not only by regular console users that are using the 60 frames per second, but if you do the next gen consoles and the PC at 120 frames per second, there's no feasible way that a Switch player is going to have a good time in these. I don't recommend that if you get the Nintendo Switch port that you should do crossplay with any of the next gen systems or PC. You're let alone taking a risk by just playing with the regular current gen consoles. So that's what we can be expecting for Apex Legends Nintendo Switch port. It will most likely come early of 2021, predicting date probably around February 1st or 2nd, and unfortunately the game, until a next gen Nintendo property is created, will run at 30 frames per second, as that is just the limitations of the hardware. If you enjoyed this video, do drop a like and subscribe. It helps me a ton. In the comments, let me know. Are you excited for the Switch port? Are you going to play it a lot? Like, are you concerned about the 30 frames per second? Let me know. Until next time, Legends, keep slaying in the Outlands, and I'll see you out there.